Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Now, we've just done a video, the last video was about Alex Cole Hamilton, or Thirsty, as we're going to call him now, who was exceedingly drunk in the bar at Holyrood and tried to make a point of order and, tried to vote. And we had a laugh at his expense because it's a one-off, it's not a regular thing. But this one is also about alcohol, but this one I think is more serious. This is not a one-off. This seems to be an awful lot of wine drunk by one person, it seems. Presumably how she managed to cope with all the stress and strain. Someone who was perhaps self-medicating in vast amounts. And wait until you see the bill. Vast amounts of wine to get through her final days in office. Because, of course, we are talking about Nicola Sturgeon. And it's an interesting story. It goes to show that maybe she is, a functional alcoholic. And that would explain an awful lot of the mad decisions made in towards the end of her reign of error. But we'll take a look at this story, see how much money's been spent on keeping this woman topped up. Here goes. Now, before we get into it, I will ask, only 35% of my regular viewers are actually subscribed. So if you are one of the regular viewers, or a new viewer, I don't care, if you're a new viewer as well, do please hit the subscribe button, because we are political. We get pushed down in the algorithm. Every time you subscribe and press a like, it makes such a massive difference. And so do please support the channel. We get nearly 8,000 subscribers at the moment. Let's see if you can help us get to 8,000. That'd be absolutely massive. So do please hit that subscribe button. We'll move on with there. But anyway, we'll have a look at this story here because this is an astonishing amount of wine. Nicola Sturgeon spent £2,118 on wine at Bute House in her final months in office. And I'm going to say, no, she bloody well didn't. The taxpayer spent £2,118 on wine. She didn't pay it, did she? This was off the public purse. The wine bill for the former First Minister's Grace and Favour residence in Edinburgh's Charlotte Square averaged £46 per week in her last year in office. Now, I would suggest that is quite a lot of wine. She said she spent 4 times as much on wine as she did on soft drinks and sparkling water. Now, I'm going to suggest this. If you, and I got told this by an expert, by a wine expert. He's actually the wine, God, terrible name dropper here. He's actually the sommelier for the Hungarian embassy in London. I know, doesn't it make me sound like a prick? But anyway, that's who he was. I happen to know a friend of mine, William. His wife was a Hungarian diplomat. That's how I was there doing a wine tasting ding. And anyway, he said basically today, what you look at, don't go cheap. He said, don't go £5-6 for a bottle of wine. He said, but don't go mad. Don't go £16-17. He said, because 99% of people couldn't tell the difference. And he said, genuinely, £8-9 a bottle of wine will get you a good enough bottle of wine that you will enjoy it. Now, taking that, £46, divide by £8 or £9, you're looking 5 bottles of wine a week. And she's only a little person. So she is cracking through a lot of wine. I'm going to suggest 5 bottles of wine a week, plus whatever else she's drinking, for someone of her size. That makes her effectively a functional alcoholic. If she's drinking it all herself, I've got to say, can't guarantee she's drinking it all herself. But by God, that's a lot of wine to be getting through. 5 bottles a week. Glug, glug, glug. And it does explain some of the madness of her last year in office. She must have been sitting there tippling all day. You wonder if she's sitting there. What's in her little bottle of water? Is she sitting in there in the house in Holyrood? I wonder if that's water or mother's ruin. Bit of gin, who knows? Does explain a lot though, doesn't it? Anyway, taxpayers have picked up another hefty wine bill at the First Minister's boozy Bute House residence. It's been revealed. The bar tab for last year up to February the 15th, the day Nicola Sturgeon announced her resignation, was £2,118.05. The wine was purchased for official engagements and receptions at the Edinburgh mansion, and the cost, released under the Freedom of Information, represents a return to pre-pandemic levels of spending after 2 years where very few events at the Bute House were held. Yeah, but there's no reason to suggest that she was passing that round, is there? When you look at what she was doing, it don't half explain a lot. Overall, the Scottish Government spent at least £6,762 on wine in the past 6 years of Miss Sturgeon's reign, although officials admit this is likely to be an underestimate, as other bottles would have been included in the catering costs. She was gugging it back, wasn't she? Glug, glug, glug. No wonder. By contrast, the amount spent on sparkling water and soft drinks over the same period was just £1,912, barely a quarter of the spend on wine. Well, that's because the last thing you want is a soft drink if there's some booze going. And the only reason I think she was buying the soft drinks is in the morning. She needed to wet that mouth. You know what it's like? You wake up, it's like you swallowed a canary, isn't it? Blah, like that. Get some bit of lemon. I always find is the best when I wake up and I'm like, bleh, having swallowed a canary. Anyway, it's somewhat ironically, in previous years, the average amount spent on a bottle of wine for the Bute House cellars was around £16 a bottle, far higher than the minimum price of £4.50 for a 12%er. £16 a bottle. She wouldn't tell the difference of a £16 bottle. I mean, what? You get a Chateau Neuf de Pape's, what, about £18, £19 now? And honestly, I sat there the other day, I was drinking a Chateau Neuf, and then I had a little bit left. And I would come in and I'm making a spaggy bowl, and I'm putting a bit of Chateau Neuf in there. My sister walks in, she said, the hell? Chateau Neuf in your... I went, it's going to be a good sauce. And it was. But, you know, that's what you get. You know, I'll be honest, I didn't pay for this Chateau Neuf. It was one that someone had bought me. Very nice too. I'm a Wolf Blass man. I do like nice red Wolf Blass Cabernet Sauvignon. £9. It's not too bad. I think it's actually £8 in Asda at the moment, so I might go and top myself up a few for Christmas. God, I love wine. But I'm such a wine snob. Another tangent, I'm a wine snob. White wine, or as I like to call it, grape juice, is for the ladies. I only drink red wine. Although, much as I love red wine, it don't half bang my head. I get wine bang, you know, and it's like, but I can't help it. It's too nice. Anyway, when the pre-pandemic wine bill was revealed last year, opposition parties questioned whether it was the best use of public money. Of course it isn't. But if it keeps her happy, then fine. You know, she's sitting there sloshing it back, you know, guggle, guggle, couple of pints of cider, maybe half a bottle of whiskey just to get you through the morning. You know, and that's how these people function. That's how she runs. You know, what do you want? Sturgeon wobbling up the steps, trying to get in to vote, you know. Oh, I used to give that eye. You used to have that glassy-eyed look. I thought it was because she had a basilisk eye. I see now it wasn't. It was purely glassy-eyed. She was probably asleep behind it, and it just glazed over. The woman's an absolute soak, isn't she? Anyway, Scottish Labour MSP Neil Bibby said, the people of Scotland deserve a government with its eye on the ball, not one racking up such a big bar tab at their expense. Hick, bloody hick, I tell you. Some of the boozy events at Bute House during the 22-23 included a Christmas gathering for the Holyrood political reporters in December. That will have cost because I happen to know the press are very good when it comes to drinking on other people's tabs. And 2 Edinburgh Festival receptions in August. Guests at the Edinburgh International Book Festival knees up, including Miss Sturgeon's friend, the crime author Val McDermid. Can you imagine the pair of them sitting in the corner, hugging each other, laughing, gasping, glugging it down, straight out the bottle, a bottle of nice Van de Pay, something like that, woggle down it goes, hick, you know, and it's like, I love you, Val, oh, I love you, Nicola, yeah, what we can do now? Oh, no, fuck them. Honestly, they'll be like that. And then sitting there, and then later on, they've gone out for a wee walk later, they'll be up the Royal Mile, they'll fall over, be sitting in there in some shop doorway. Hey, pal, you spare some change. You know, I tell you what, odd bins. That woman is single-handedly keeping odd bins open, I'm sure of it. Anyway, Bute House, a Grade A listed Georgian townhouse on Charlotte Square in Newtown, was closed for almost 5 months this year for major refurbishments. Well, that's what they say. What they actually did, they had to get a set of skips in to take out the empties. Made a fortune, though, taking them back. And that's one of the reasons they don't want the glass recycling, you know. Yes, well, the SNP want glass recycling, get all that money back from Nicola's empties. But no one else wanted it because they didn't want to embarrass anyone, you know. They were doing her a favour. Should have kept her mouth shut. Anyway, I'll round off, come up, and we'll just laugh at Nick and her major problem. Who knew? Who knew? Now everything becomes clear. Hick. Coming up. Well, I think this revelation solves one problem, doesn't it? It does explain where the £600,000 gone. Drunk it. Goggle. You know, that's what the camper van was for. Drive up into the Highlands, fill her up, glug, 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 and then sit there for 3-4 days out in the middle of nowhere, getting absolutely slarmed. Yeah, 600,000 worth of booze. Well done. Gotta say, that's prodigious. Makes Alex Cole Hamilton look like a schoolboy, doesn't it, when it comes to drinking? Anyway, I shall round off there. I shall definitely go and get myself a glass of wine now. I've got a lot of catching up to do. Until next time, stay safe, stay well, stay sober, or stay Nicolaed. Bye.